Hey guys, hey, just want to do a real quick tutorial on making some edits or changes. So in particular, I'm teaching an oil painting class right now, and documenting process is really, really important. So actually, I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to navigate to a student's folder who I think has been doing a really good job. One second. Sometimes it takes me a moment to kind of get my bearings here. Here we go. Summer 2025. And Ricky or Richard. So R Richard has been doing a fantastic job of really just kind of documenting what he's doing on his easel. So here he's starting with a sketch and, starting with a photograph, of course, and mapping things out with a 1-inch grid. He did the drawing, and then he's starting to build the painting up with some burnt sienna. Okay. And kind of telling the story with these images. Okay. Proceeding and proceeding and moving through. Okay. So this is the part where uh, Ricky's painting was on the wall, and I wanted to make sure to capture the color properly. So I put a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper right next to the painting before I took a photograph of it. Okay. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this. I'm going to adjust the white balance and I'm going to crop it. So right click, open with Photoshop. And this is a 16 by 20-inch canvas. Okay. And so I'm going to make sure that when I am cropping it or thinking about cropping it down, that I'm using this aspect ratio 16 by 20. And it doesn't say 16 inches or centimeters or anything like that. It just says 16 by 20. Okay. And so now pretty much the true size of the canvas, the aspect ratio is here as we're going to be doing the cropping. Before I do that, though, I might suggest that we come over here to, let's see, filters, and we can come over here to lens correction. And I used my iPhone to take this photograph. And so you can come over here and find the make and model of all of these guys. I have a basic just iPhone SE, okay? And so it'll just do a basic correction to try to get rid of some of the warp that might be present in the image initially, okay? So I'm gonna hit OK. I'm pretty happy with that. That can be helpful. Now I need to straighten the image. It's not quite perfect. So when I hit C for crop, okay? And if this doesn't pop up, you can come over here to the left-hand side. There's the icon for the crop tool, and the shortcut is C again. So, but now I'm going to zoom in, and the way I zoomed in, by the way, was Command plus or minus. So I can zoom out, I can zoom in, pretty handy. But first things first, I want to straighten this painting, okay? So I'm going to come up here after hitting C for crop, the straighten function shows up. Now I'm going to just simply drag from the left to the right-hand side to straighten this. And then if I hit Command 0, I'll be able to see everything all at once. So it kind of straightened things out a little bit. That's pretty cool. And you can kind of see, like it didn't get quite straight on the bottom. We'll be able to correct that. That's not a big deal at all, okay? For the time being, I'm going to just kind of crop it a little bit on the outside because the next thing I want to do is adjust the white balance really quickly. So I'm going to hit Command L for levels. And now I'm going to use this little like eyedropper thing with the white on the end, and it says sample an image to set white point. And because I put this little sheet of paper, which is quote unquote true white right next door, when I click on this, it's going to brighten up this image a little bit and the colors are going to look a little bit more accurate, okay? And so sometimes you can kind of sample in different areas, to get it true or correct, and then hit OK. So the next thing we're going to do is hit C for crop again. And now I'm going to start bringing in these handles essentially a little bit more closely. And what I want to do is I kind of want to bring these handles really as close as I possibly can into the document or the image without accidentally pretty much cropping useful information out. And so you can see I zoom in quite a bit, which can be helpful. So I can really kind of get a sense of how close I am to those important edges, right? And then I'm using a magic mouse on a Mac, so I can kind of use my index finger to just kind of like scroll or cruise around pretty conveniently, okay? So that's as good as it's going to get as far as what I can do with the plain old crop function, but the real truth is we can take it a step further, okay? Because now I can hit Command T for transform. And then once I hit transform, there's this little kind of like a function up here that with the, I don't know, the curvature arrow, click that. And then again, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And then I have these handles and I can start manipulating those things around. But before I do that, what I actually want to do is work with the corners. And so what I usually do is I'll kind of like just make sure that the corners are nice and tight, in the corner. So that's the first point that I will pull. I go to each corner, I pull those guys out. Okay, there we go. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll make usually two passes with these anchors that I can sort of like manipulate. And really all I'm trying to do is just kind of push the photograph out a little bit so I don't see anything beyond the actual image itself. You can kind of see I'm just kind of grabbing those anchors and just kind of gently pulling them out just a little bit because I don't want to see the backdrop of what was around the painting. And so I'm just kind of gently massaging this image. This is really useful if you're, first of all, just if you want to just document your work for your own records, or maybe you want to use it for social media marketing. But also, like let's say you're going to be applying for a gallery exhibition, or you need good documentation of your work that's accurate and shows that the actual color of your painting as well. So now I think that's looking pretty good. And now I can hit the checkbox and we've completed our mission. Um, I'm going to go ahead and hit Command S and save. And by the way, because we've made these sorts of changes within Photoshop, we're no longer going to be able to save this file as a JPEG. So now it's going to want to save it as a PSD or a Photoshop file. And so usually what I'll do is I'll just kind of hit the right cursor on my keyboard and then I'll add dash edit. Okay. And obviously I'll save that within a project folder so I can find it down the road. So this is just, a real quick lesson on doing some minor touch-ups to the beautiful painting that you've completed, some digital editing so that you can share these things on social media, so that you can use them for a portfolio, so that you can share them with friends, whatever it is that you need to do. We've cleaned this up really nice. So I'm going to hit Command S and now I'm going to close it. And I just kind of want to remind you also that I can go back to Bridge. So here's the one that we just worked on. And that was well, that's actually something that Ricky sent me. I believe this is the one that we did some editing to. And that's the change right here. So you can kind of see a pretty dramatic difference. Okay. Now here's the other thing is that usually I'll grab a full image when I'm documenting artwork, but I will also just kind of zoom in so that I can get a sense of some of the details that are happening. So I grabbed one, two, three separate details. So I have a full image and then I have these beautiful details to work with. Okay. Or send to maybe it's a gallery and you want to show some paintings there. Who knows? Okay, that's enough for this. I hope that was informative. Thanks, guys. Bye.